Hello, I am Urszula Bunting, and this is Brandy. We are at Longmont Senior Center, inviting you to practice restorative yoga with us today. And before we get started, please remember to take care of yourself. This is a very gentle practice, very healthy, low intense. But if you have any medical conditions or if you don't feel great today, please make sure that you know what to do or consult with your medical provider to be safe to practice with us. So please take a look at where Brandy is and what she has around her. So you will need a mat. If you don't have a mat at home, carpeted floor will work. Ideally, you will have a bolster. Brandy is sitting on this bolster. If you have a bolster, if you don't have a bolster, but you like this practice, I highly encourage you to get one because it's a wonderful toy to have at home, especially if you like restorative yoga. In the absence of a bolster, you can use a pillow that is similar to it. It needs to be quite firm though. Or you can stack the blankets. So we have blankets that are specifically made for yoga practice, but any kind of blankets that are not fluffy will work. So they will also give you the support that you need. If you have blocks at home, that's perfect. If you don't, I'm sure you can find something at home that will have this shape. It could be either a block, a box, or even a book that might be not too heavy. Another thing that we will need today is a strap. You can use a belt or even men's tie. I used that before when I was desperate, and a chair. And I'm sure that everyone has a chair at home. The best is to find a chair that is sturdy so you can rely on it and find a good support from it. So if you are not ready yet, please stop this recording and gather your stuff and join us when you have things set up on the mat, just like Brandy does. Okay, so welcome again, and we will start our practice today in Shavasana. If you practice yoga, any kind of yoga, you might know that we usually end yoga practice in Shavasana. But it is nice to start yoga practice, especially restorative one, in a Shavasana that is supported with the bolster under your knees, or you can have folded or rolled blankets. So please make sure that all your body parts are supported, that nothing is floating. So especially in this case, make sure that your hips are grounded. Feel the ground under the back of your head. If your forehead is lower than your chin, you might need some support under your head, and you can use one of your blankets or a towel. I forgot to mention that having a couple of towels can be helpful as well. And if you feel that your neck, the back of your neck gets flat on the floor, you might want to roll one end of the towel and this rolled part of the towel bring under the neck so you maintain the natural curvature under your neck. And please take a couple of breaths with your eyes closed and just become aware of your breath. Notice your breathing pattern today. Notice if your breath is nice and smooth or perhaps it feels a little shallow. So please pay attention to your breath throughout the whole practice. I will be reminding you about your breathing so you can continue connecting to your breath. Your breath will tell you a lot about the state of your mind and your body. Anytime you hold your breath, it's an indication that something is going on that you need to change. Perhaps your body is tight, perhaps your mind gets busy with the thoughts that are hard to put aside. So your breath is something that you want to continue going back to observe and adjust. So let's bring hands to the abdomen just for a moment and notice if your abdomen moves as you breathe. Relax your belly, and as you inhale, feel your belly rising and lifting your hands on the inhalation, and then retracting with your hands dropping down on the exhalation. So please take a couple of breaths, relaxing your abdomen as much as you can, so it feels like a balloon when you inflate with the air on the inhalation. And then let the air go out on the exhalation. And let's bring hands around the rib cage. So your rib cage is like a basket. So try not to tighten your hands and tighten your ribs with your hands. Rather have them relaxed, and when you breathe in, allow your ribs move sideways. Separate. And on the exhalation, let them come back together towards the midline. And feel that movement as you breathe, coordinating the breath with the movement of your ribs. And when you're ready, bring your hands to your chest. Left hand on your chest and the right hand on top of your left hand. And again, notice if your body gets tense at any point when you make a change. And please take a couple of breaths into your chest. So your chest won't move as much. It doesn't have the ability to move as much as the ribcage or your abdomen does. But still, when you inhale and if you're relaxed, if you don't have tension around your chest, you will feel slight lift in the chest area. And then when you exhale, you will feel your chest dropping down. You will feel the upper back and the mid back making a connection with the ground. And now with your hands on your chest, please feel the heartbeat. Connect to your heart. And think about the intention for our practice today, for the next 50 minutes or so. What brings you to the mat today? And slowly relax your hands back down. Bring your arms down alongside the torso. And if it feels natural, have your palms facing up. So very often, especially at the beginning of the practice, we would rather have the palms facing down. So just make the judgment for yourself. If it feels more natural having your hands down, keep them this way. We don't want to force anything or even give our body more direction that it needs at the moment. And please take a couple more breaths, feeling the belly, the rib cage, and your chest engaging when you breathe in. So the front of your body will rise on the inhalation, and then slowly will soften and drop down on the exhalation. It with the back of your body, making a bigger connection with the ground underneath you. And please take a deeper breath. And slowly we will move to the next part of our practice. It will be a short, very short and gentle warm-up, and then we will continue with our restorative poses. So please bring your feet to the bolster with your knees pointing up, feet about hip or shoulder distance apart. And just give yourself a moment. Take another breath or two. And then bring your knees towards your chest, and let's make a couple of circles with your knees. So slowly wake up your body, feel your pelvis waking up, massage the low back and the sacrum. And when you're ready, reverse the direction. And again, please do it at your pace. Listen to your body and take directions from your body and your breath. These are your most important teachers during this practice. And then lift your feet with your knees bent to happy baby pose. So bring your knees towards the armpits. Separate your knees, and then lift your feet up towards the ceiling with your knees bent, and reach for either your feet from the outside, for the big toes. If this is not reachable, you can grab your ankles or your thighs and just rock yourself from side to side, gently massaging again your low back, rolling across the sacrum. And slowly release your feet, place your feet down on the floor, and at this time you can push the bolster forward so it's not in your way when you stretch your legs down on the mat. Yeah, so with your feet, push the bolster. Inhale, stretch your arms up and over the head and reach with the fingertips towards the wall behind you. Flex your feet and reach with your heels. And then point your feet and reach with the toes. Awesome. One more time. Flex your feet and then point. And relax your feet. Bring your arms back down alongside the torso. Take a couple of breaths. Now, if you have a roll towel under your neck, like Brandy does, you can move that towel to the side and just have the back of your head on the ground. If you have a towel under your head, please keep it there. Just make sure that it's not too high, that your head feels supported but not crunched. And now roll your head from side to side, gently, one direction. Bring your head back to center and the other direction. Notice the range of motion that you have today and just stay within this range of motion. There is no need to go too far. And please bring your head back to center with your nose pointing up towards the ceiling. And when you're ready, please bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and slowly roll yourself to one side. It doesn't matter which side, to a fetal position. So if you have a towel under your head, you can keep it there, or you can bring the upper arm, the one that is touching the floor, under your head like a pillow. So your neck is not strained and your head is supported. And please keep your eyes closed, keep your face relaxed. This is a transitional pose, but you still want to take advantage of this wonderful pose that is very nourishing for the body and mind. And just take relaxed breaths with your eyes closed, with your breath even. And slowly we'll start rising up. So the hand that is on the floor in front of your chest will help you to lift. And lift yourself up to a seated position. Take a moment. Notice how you feel with your spine being back vertical. And our next pose is a child's pose. So we will use a bolster for this pose. And again, if you don't have a bolster, just stack your blankets or find a firm pillow. And I hope you already have these things in place. So for child's pose, we will have the bolster between your legs. And I will give you a different option for this pose if this is too hard on your knees or your hips don't quite like to have as much pressure and create as much opening. So please stay with me. And first I will guide you through child's pose. So with the bolster, just like Brandy has the bolster between your knees, you will bring your hands to the floor on either side of the bolster, and slowly you will walk your hands forward, allowing your body to recline down on the bolster. Belly, rib cage, your chest, and your head. So the best way to keep your head is on one side. So either side, it's more gentle if if you change the size, and I will give you the cues later when it's time to change the side. If this puts too much strain on your neck, you can have the forehead on the bolster with a towel or a blanket under your forehead, so you have enough space between your face and the bolster to breathe. Take a moment to get comfortable in this pose. Check with your feet, with your knees, with your hips. If this feels comfortable, but perhaps your knees need a little support, extra support, you can place another mat or a blanket under your knees so you have extra cushion. You can also roll the blanket and place it between your shins and your thighs, and this will help to keep the space and support your knee joints. If you need more height for your upper body, for your torso, you can place 1 or 2 blankets on top of the bolster. So our next option, if this is not available to you, is to have your legs stretched behind you. Brandy, how about if you help us to figure out how to do it? So bring your legs behind, and we'll come to a half frog. So we will start with one knee, bending the knee and bringing this knee to the side, more or less hip height, but please adjust to what's most comfortable to you. You're still creating space in the hips, but the main purpose of this practice is to create peace and sense of security. So your nervous system will start shifting from the state of fight or flight to the parasympathetic state where we rest, digest, relax, and heal. And this is the purpose of our whole practice, but especially this pose, whether you're in child's pose or half frog, is very comforting. Having the chest and the heart on top of the bolster creates the environment for our nervous system to calm down and feel and have this sense of safety and security. So make sure that your eyes are not, that you're not squeezing your eyes or you're not tensing the area around your eyes, that your face is relaxed and all body parts feel supported. Please check with your breath. Notice if your breath is still smooth and even. And notice if you're staying in the present moment. Are there any thoughts that might be coming back and affecting the state of your mind and the state of your body, and especially the state of your nervous system? So my suggestion is that when you have thoughts that come back to you and they perhaps disturb you, just acknowledge them and make a choice, make a decision not to engage with them at the moment. This is your time to rest, to heal, and take advantage of this peaceful environment that you created for yourself. If you are in half frog, we'll change sides, so please stretch, extend the leg that is bent and switch sides. And please take your time when you change the sides or when we change the poses. This is like a slow motion movie. You are observing how your body is responding to everything that you do. And this is your time to learn and notice things that perhaps you don't have time to notice, or you don't have time to take a moment and see why your body is responding the way it does. So this pose is wonderful for anyone that carries tension in the low back. As long as you can relax your back, that you can place your body in a way that doesn't create any tightness. It's also wonderful to create space in the pelvis, in the hips, and across the sacrum. It's very grounding and nourishing. So this sound is for you to know that you'll still have a couple of breaths in this pose. And especially if you're enjoying this specific pose, just take these breaths longer so it seems like you can stay longer in this pose and enjoy it for an extra moment or two. And slowly we will start coming out of the pose, so please slide your hands under your shoulders. If you are in half frog, you can extend the leg behind you just for a moment. And then press your palms to the floor and lift yourself up. We'll come to hands and knees, just to take 3 sets of cat-cow and allow the circulation to move and the blood to flow to the spaces that need it the most. So on the inhalation, please lift the sitting bones up, arch your spine, bring your chest forward, lift your head. On the exhalation, crawl the tailbone under And then round your spine, lift the mid-spine up towards the ceiling and relax your head down. And again, inhale, lift your sitting bones up. Allow your spine to arch, bring your chest forward, lift your head. And exhale, curl the tailbone. Slowly round your spine, pull the belly button towards your spine as you are rounding your spine, and relax your head. And one more time at your pace. Follow your breath. Slowly inhale and arch. And slowly exhale and round. And come back to neutral table. And then let's come to a seated position just for a moment. Any seated position, so you can be in crossed legs or you can sit on your heels, whatever feels best, just to get the spine vertical for a moment. Relax your shoulders, bring your head to a neutral position. You can have your eyes open or you can have them closed, and tune inside, tune into your body. Notice the effects of child's pose on your body. And for our next pose, we will need the chair. And it will be a chair version of legs up the wall. So you might want to place a blanket on top of the chair, especially if your chair doesn't have the soft cushion. It will feel nice. And then come to the chair pretty close. Recline your back down on the mat. Check with your head again to make sure that your head is in the position that feels supported. So again, if your forehead is lower than your chin, you want to have a towel or another blanket under your head. And when you're ready, please lift your feet and bring your shins to the chair. So depends on the anatomy of your body, how long the lower part of your legs are, and also depends on the chair. You might have your shins fully supported with the chair, or they might be slightly off the chair, and that's okay. If you need another blanket, please come out of the pose and use another blanket so your heels are not floating in the air, but they are resting on the surface underneath. And we will start with arms in cactus, but please notice how your shoulders are responding to this version. If this creates any tightness, it will reflect in your breathing, and the nervous system will pick up on it. So yes, we want to create more space in the chest, in the lungs, around the heart, but our priority is to keep the nervous system calm so your body can do what is designed to do, which is to heal and take care of you. And if at any point this becomes tiring, having your arms in cactus, please pay attention to it and bring your arms back down alongside the torso, or you can even have your hands on your abdomen, just to make sure that your belly doesn't feel tight, that you have full abdominal breath that continues throughout the rest of this pose and with each pose. Keep your eyes softly closed. Check with your chin, check with your jaw. Relax any tension that you might be holding in your body. So I chose this pose for you today because it stimulates the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system is essential for us to detoxify and also to keep our immune system functioning well. And it's an inversion with your feet higher, legs higher than your head. So in addition, you are getting more oxygen into your brain, which is very often exactly what we need to keep ourselves calm, to deal with any kind of emotional distress, with anxiety. And I invite you to take this pose anytime you feel like you need to separate yourself from the rest of the world. And this pose is calming and it's energizing at the same time. So it can be taken any time of the day. It can be taken as part of a sequence, just what we are doing here today, or it can be taken in the morning when you feel like you need to start the day with a clear mind and calm but energized. And it's wonderful to take it before you go to sleep. So your nervous system is responding in a way that you can sleep better, that you can relax easier and have a better sleep at night. A few more moments to enjoy this pose and to take the best out of what this pose is serving you. Please focus on your breath and just stay in the moment, connecting your body, your mind, your senses, bringing it all together. Please take a deeper breath, slightly energizing before we move. And if you still have your arms in cactus, bring them down alongside the torso. Give your shoulders a moment of rest. And then bring your knees towards your chest. Push the chair to have more space. And now hug your knees towards your chest and gently rock yourself from side to side. And roll to one side again to a fetal position where we stay for a few breaths. But even for these few breaths, support your head, support your legs. And now bring yourself to this shape that almost feels like being wrapped in a ball. And slowly we'll start rising. When you're ready, bring your hand in front of your chest With the inhalation, lift yourself up. You can stretch your legs in front of you. Separate your feet and move your feet from side to side. Relax your leg muscles. Relax your toes and the whole feet. And our next pose is called bound angle. You might know this, the name of this pose from Sanskrit. That Sanskrit is the language that we use in yoga because it's a very popular pose. It's one of the most popular and enjoyed. It's called Baddha Konasana. So we will use the bolster for this pose. And again, if you don't have the bolster, please stack 2 or 3 blankets in a way that you can lie down your back on it. So I will give you a few versions, but we will start with a version with the bolster flat on the floor. In case you don't have a bolster, in case you don't have other props that I will mention later. So we will start with the bolster behind your back, touching your sacrum, unless you already know that you have tenderness in your low back, and then you want to push the bolster a couple of inches away from your back. And let's bring feet to the floor with your knees bent. When you're ready, slowly start reclining your back down on the mat. So you want the whole back to land on the floor with your head supported either directly on the bolster or again with a blanket or even a small pillow will work as well. So you don't want to feel like your head is falling back. And now please bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open to the sides. Let your knees naturally fall to the sides. And eventually the gravity and the weight of your legs will help to for your hips to loosen up, to release tightness that causes the hips to be in a specific position, especially if your knees are higher, pointing towards the ceiling. That might be caused by a lot of tightness in the hips. So in this case, you can also use some extra props that you might have. You can roll the blankets or the towels and place them under your thighs or under your knees. And this way you will create an environment for yourself that the tension that you might be carrying in your hips will slowly release and you will be able to rest better. Another version of this pose, if this doesn't feel comfortable, another version is to have your head elevated. So Brandy, can you help us with that? We can place a block under the end of the bolster where your head is landing. If you don't have that block, you can also use extra blankets or a pillow, whatever you might find at your home. And in this position, you will be even more comfortable, having more support for your body to relax faster. If the leg position is not right for you at the moment, you can simply stretch your legs in front of you. If your legs are stretched in front of you, but you feel that your knees are slightly hyperextended, you can roll the blanket and slide the blanket under your knees. So there are many ways that you can get into this pose and feel super comfortable. And please take your time. Please use this time to figure out your body's needs and how you can accommodate these needs. And please remember that getting comfortable takes time and practice. We live in a world that being comfortable is not that popular. So it's your job and your mission to think about what you can do to make your body happy, so your body can take care of you when we come across situations when we need strong, healthy body, strong, served immune system. And this is one way to do it. So please tune again into your breath. Allow your belly to relax, your ribs, your chest. And when you feel your breath coming in, when the air coming in on the inhalation, let this air expand your whole torso. Feel that expansion. And on the exhalation, feel that softening in your body, letting go of the air, letting go of everything that your body is ready to release. It could be physiological, it could be emotional, doesn't matter. You don't even need to know it. Just let your body take care of this. And this is a wonderful way, this pose, it's a wonderful way to create more space in the chest, to create more space around your heart, and allow your lungs to work better. So relax the back of your body on the bolster so you have that support. And then feel the front of your body expanding. Feel that space being created with each breath, with each moment. Relax your shoulders enough so the gravity and the weight of your arms and your shoulders will pull them down, softening the muscles that connect shoulders with the chest. So from sitting and living with shoulders forward quite often, this is a great antidotum to bring the shoulders to a neutral position without too much work on it, just with the pleasure of being in the pose that is very nurturing and very comfortable. You have your knees bent to the sides, pointing sideways. Now it might be a good time to bring your hands under your legs and help your legs to lift. And let's bring the knees together, feet apart. So your feet are about hip distance or even closer to the edges of the mat, with your toes slightly pointing towards each other and your knees together, so they are supporting each other as well. So just make sure that one knee is not working harder than the other. And then when this energy is even, you can relax both legs. And slowly, please bring your feet back together. And we will roll to the side. You can either stay on the bolster or you can roll yourself off the bolster directly to the mat. So please choose where you want to be for the next couple of breaths. And again, give yourself a chance before we rise to be on the side in this wonderful way to transition from lying down to sitting back up. And then we will use one hand again and the strand of the hand and the arm to lift ourselves up to a seated position. You can stretch your legs or you can come to cross legs or any seated position that feels right for this moment and right for your body. And just notice how you feel. Very often we feel the effects of the pose after we come out of it. And it's good to observe that, and it's good to notice and remember, so this will motivate you to do it another time. And even when you can't do the pose, when you are in the environment where you can't take a pose like this, just come back to that feeling and envision that you are there and you're already getting the benefits of practicing restorative poses. Okay, so our next pose is a restorative twist. We will have the bolster on the right side of your pelvis, so it will be next to your right hip. We'll start with legs extended in front of you, and I will give you different options for getting your legs comfortable in this pose once we get there, but we will start with the version that I like. So we will have the right leg still extended in front of you, and then you will bend your left knee and bring your left foot just a little bit closer to your left hip. You don't need to bring it too close, especially if you notice that this causes any tension. And let's take a breath with hands on the floor. So let's bring the fingers next to your hips or even slightly behind, wherever you have your wherever you have enough room, and we will lengthen the spine before we twist. We always want to make sure that your spine is as long as possible before you get into a twist to keep your spine safe. Inhale, lift through the crown of your head, and on the exhalation start turning towards the bolster, bringing your left hand to the mat, and your right hand is already there. So walk your hands forward, and now use your hands to support and slowly bring the front of your body down on the bolster. Your belly, your rib cage, your chest, and then softly place your head on the bolster. Now, with your legs, see how your legs would like to be here. If this feels comfortable with your legs extended and you notice that your muscles are able to relax, keep it this way. Otherwise, bend your knee, your right knee, relax the foot, and just watch your legs getting into a position that is the most relaxing and the most comfortable. So once again, I want to remind you that your body will tell you what to do if you listen. Now, if your top leg feels like it's dropping down too much, you can bring a blanket between your legs, between your knees, and then your hips will be even and your top leg will be able to relax more. Yes, or do what Brandy is doing. That's another option. So you can be creative here. There are many ways that you can get yourself into a position that feels really yummy, where it feels like you could just be there for the rest of the practice or the rest of the day. So keep your head comfortably placed on the mat. You can have your head turned away from your legs, just like Brandy has. If this puts too much strain on your neck, because in this position your neck is in a deep twist as well, just have your head with your face facing the same direction as your legs. And this is the most gentle way to stay in this pose. When your legs are supported, when your head is supported, you can be in this pose for a while. We will be here for a couple more minutes. And it's similar to child's pose, when the first pose that we took after Shavasana today. It's very, it brings a lot of comfort. It's very nourishing because the front of your body is not exposed. Your heart area feels supported. So take advantage of this pose and how you are feeling, to remember that you are safe, that the sense of safety and security comes from within. It doesn't come from the world outside, but you can create it and you can enjoy it at any time. And please remember to take natural breaths. Now, the front of your body is slightly compressed, so perhaps you are not able to take as full breaths as when you're lying down on your back. But you're also breathing to the back of your body, so feel the back of your lungs being stimulated when you take a deeper breath. Feel the breath going all the way down to where your kidneys are, bringing more oxygen, more nourishment to this area that very often gets depleted. Please take a deeper breath. Feel the ground under your hands, under your palms. Slide your hands under your shoulders. Gently press them down and lift yourself up to a seated position. Extend your legs in front of you, relax your legs. You can do a couple of windshield wipers with your feet, with your legs. You can also bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and do a couple of windshield wiper this way, just so we have the blood flow to the areas that perhaps were compressed during the pose. So now all what you need to do is just to move the bolster to the other side, so it will be on your left side with one end of the bolster next to your left hip, and the leg that is closer to the bolster will be extended, and we will flex the right knee and bring the foot close to your right hip, and just without putting any pressure on the ankle or your foot. It doesn't have to be very close. Excellent. So once again, we will lengthen the spine before we go to the twist. You can have your hands behind, just the fingertips for support. Inhale, lift through the crown of your head. Feel the spine lengthening, vertebrae separating, creating more space between them. And on the exhalation, turn, roll the weight to your left hip, turn towards the bolster. Use your hands for support, so you can slowly and gently bring the front of your torso on the bolster, one piece at a time. Belly, rib cage, chest, and your head. And now, check with your legs. It might be that your body is asking for the same position of your legs as you had on the other side, or perhaps it will be different on this side. Please remember that our sides are not always even, and we need to accommodate the sides as we take poses and take each side of the same pose. Relax your head, relax your shoulders. So now your shoulders are draping over the bolster the same way, in a similar way as they were doing it when we were in the previous pose in Baddha Konasana, but this time they are helping to soften the chest area and make more space in the mid and upper back. Make more space between the shoulder blades. So let your shoulders be heavy. Let them fall towards the ground. So please take a deeper breath and slowly we will be coming out of this pose. So have your hands on the mat under your shoulders. Once again, press them down, lift your upper body up, extend your legs in front of you or have your knees bent, relax your feet. And it's time for our last pose, which is Shavasana. It's the same pose that we used to start the practice today. We will have the bolster under the knees, so you will use the bolster or a rolled blanket under your knees, and before you recline down, please reach for one blanket that you will roll into a small roll, like a small burrito, and you will have this blanket under your, so spread the blanket, Brandy, a little, yes, it will be a thin burrito, that's what I meant. And we will have this rolled blanket under your ankles, okay? If you don't have a blanket handy, you can also use blocks under your ankles or couple of towels. So we want the ankles to be supported and we want your feet to be just slightly above the floor. So let's recline down. You can recline down with your knees already on top of the bolster, or you can recline down without any props, except for the props under your ankles, and then roll and then slide the bolster under your knees. So just figure out the best way you can get there comfortably. And once you get flat on the mat, if you have another towel, like a washcloth handy, you can have the washcloth covering your eyes. So this is especially a great way to end the practice in Shavasana. You can use, if your eyes are sensitive and you happen to be practicing this during the day, you can use the washcloth at any time with any pose. But especially at the end, it's nice to have this washcloth over your eyes, so even a slight amount of light doesn't disturb your peace, and being tuned just to your body and having that connection with the body, mind, and the soul will give you the maximum benefits of this pose and the whole practice. So in Shavasana, we bring everything together. The whole practice, the poses, the breathing, the support that we get from the props. We end every yoga practice with Shavasana because it's the most grounding, the most calming of all poses. And even though all our poses today were relaxing, this one really seals the benefits of all of them. This is where we practice this sense of surrender. There are things in our lives that are out of our control. And sometimes we need to let go of that control and accept where we are at the specific moment and surrender. I will give you just a few moments to breathe, to stay with the sensations that you might be noticing in your body, and see if you can let go of anything that is not perfect at the moment, anything that you are able to accept. This will give you the sense of peace, and it will help your body to protect you against anything that might come your way, and heal whatever is ready to be healed. And please start breathing a little bit deeper, a little more conscious of your circumstances, of the fact that we will be moving forward with our day and with what is in front of us. So please bend your knees. Place your feet on the bolster. Take another deeper breath. Hug your knees to your chest. And rock your knees from side to side. Roll yourself to one side. Support your head, especially if you feel any strain in your neck. Take a moment to give yourself this one more last opportunity to feel fully supported and nurtured in fetal position. And slowly we will start rising to a seated position. And you can come to a cross-legged position. You can have your legs extended in front of you. So relax your hands on your legs. Take a breath and lengthen your spine one more time. Feel the crown of the head reaching high up to the sky with your shoulders dropping down. Feel the peace and the sense of safety, security in your heart as you're bringing your palms together, thumbs at the heart center. Take another breath, and with your thumbs touching your chest, lift your chest slightly towards your thumbs. And then bring your chin towards the breastbone and your forehead towards the fingertips. Namaste.